Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Dulce. I'm a board-certified holistic nutritionist with a master's degree in nutrition, and today I want to share something very personal, which is my gut healing journey. And before we start, I want to be very clear about something. This is only my experience. This is not medical advice, and this is not a protocol you need to follow exactly. Everybody's different. If you are dealing with gut issues, I truly recommend to work with a healthcare professional. My goal here is simply to share what I did, what I learned, and what helped me. So maybe you can get ideas or feel less alone in your own journey as well. Now let's go back about 10 years. I've struggled with gut issues for most of my life. Even as a teenager, I dealt with bloating very often. At that time, I didn't think too much of it. I was taking medication almost daily, I would say, for acid reflux. Tums, it was like day to day, and omeprazole, pantoprazole. And back then, I felt normal and nobody questioned it. But things got worse in my 20s. About 10 years ago, my symptoms became constant. I had gas most of the days, intense bloating, and acid reflux after almost every single meal. Dinner was the worst. I would feel like a balloon inside. The pressure was so uncomfortable that I had to go for a walk for at least an hour just to feel some relief. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that sometimes even water triggered my acid reflux. I felt like I couldn't tolerate anything, not even water sometimes. Then I came to a turning point in my life. I remember that I went to a dinner party with friends who are vegan. They are from India, and some of the foods was delicious, honestly, but very spicy and cooked with a lot of oil. So I ate a lot because it was delicious, but when I got home, I felt the worst pain of my life. Honestly, I thought something was seriously wrong. Remember thinking, this can't be normal. The pain really was terrifying for me. So that day, I ended up in the hospital. They did an endoscopy and told me I had severe gastritis. My stomach lining was extremely inflamed, but thankfully it wasn't an ulcer. And that day they sent me home with more medications, a lot of medications. But what shocked me was that no one talked to me about food. No one explained what to eat, how to support healing, or why this was happening. The only advice I got was to avoid acidic foods like lemon or lime. And here's what something important clicked to me. Most people think that acid reflux is caused by too much stomach acid, but in reality, around 90 to 95% of acid reflux cases are linked to low stomach acid, not high acid. When you don't produce enough hydrochloric acid, food doesn't digest properly. It ferments, causes gas, pressure, and that pressure pushes acid back up. So avoiding lemon and lime didn't make sense to me. At least at that moment I said, what is going on here? In fact, those actually helped me a lot. And at that time, I was already studying nutrition, which sounds ironic, but I wasn't paying close attention to gut healing yet. Until that hospital visit, that was my wake-up call. I knew I had to take this seriously. That's when I started learning more about microbiome. Back then, the microbiome wasn't a big topic in nutrition school. It was barely mentioned, but I started listening to podcasts, especially biohacking podcasts, and I kept hearing about gut bacteria diversity and testing over and over again. So I decided to run a microbiome test. I used a company at that moment called Viome, still over there, and it's an amazing company. But at that time, they were just a starting point. It was a startup. The technology wasn't as advanced or accessible as it is now. I think it was more expensive back then, but the results were still very eye-opening for me. And honestly, they were shocking. I had almost no beneficial bacteria whatsoever, maybe one or two strains of probiotics, and even those were extremely low. Most of my gut was made of neutral or non-beneficial bacteria, and I also tested positive for H. pylori, which can seriously affect digestion and stomach. Something that I'm a little bit, I don't know why, but I felt embarrassed saying this. It hit me emotionally, my biological age. They calculate your biological age. I wasn't even 30 at that moment, and it came out as I was 53 years old. I don't know, as a woman, I think that moment stayed with me. Nowadays, I don't really care now that I'm older, but at that moment, it was very shocking. That's when I knew I had to rebuild my gut from the ground up. And the first step was food. Based on my results, I had to eliminate a huge list of foods. And this was mentally hard because many of them were foods that I considered healthy. I had to avoid, I remember part of the list was spinach, kale, pistachios, red meat, many fats, bell peppers, spicy foods, papaya, which is usually great for digestion. I had to eliminate pineapple. Basically, most of the foods I needed to eliminate. I ended up on a very restricted diet. Part of it was low FODMAP, but it was even more limited than that. For all of that happened for about a month, and I ate only around 10 foods. The foods I tolerated, I remember, was only fish, mainly white fish, not even salmon or sardines, zucchini, squash, all type of squash, pears, raspberries, blueberries, potatoes, and white rice. That's it. That was basically it. No variety, very repetitive, very boring, but it worked. This was an elimination phase, not for a forever diet. And that's important to say. The goal was to calm down inflammation, reduce bloating, and give my gut a break. So during that phase, supplements were very simple for me. I did not take probiotics at first. This surprises many people, but your gut is very inflamed. So probiotics can actually make bloating worse at the beginning. What I really take was digestive enzymes with every single meal. I'm gonna leave all the links that of the digestive enzymes and supplements that I was taking. Also aloe vera to soothe the gut lining. The juice, the pure juice, no sugar. I use betaine, which is hypochloric acid, water with lime or lemon at meals to support digestion, and at some point I started adding vinegar, apple cider vinegar as well, because that also promotes your own stomach acid. And at night, I used a supplement that honestly saved my life. It's called Gaia, Gaia, Gas and Bloating. That's the name of the supplement, which contains activated charcoal and herbs. I took it every night for about a month, and it made a huge difference. I also prescribe it to my clients nowadays. Just a parenthesis here, there's another one called Aire, I think so. That's the name of the company, Aire. It's great digestive enzymes and it's great for bloating. Designs for Health has another great bloating support. I leave all the links down here in case I forget. After about 4 weeks, my bloating and acid reflux had improved significantly. That's when I started the next phase, which is a reintroduction. And this part is very slow. You need to be very patient, and it should be. I introduced one food at a time, usually every 5 to 7 days, and I paid attention to bloating, reflux, skin reactions, and energy levels, how I felt. I started with easier to digest foods like fermented foods. I love kefir, where we say kefir, which is a great probiotic food. More vegetables, but most of them cooked, not raw. If they are raw, they bloat you more. Additional fruits, and then legumes. Legumes were the last point. And later on, also, I added more eggs, salmon, and eventually small amounts of red meat. And this process took me months. A full gut healing took me close to 2 years, I would say. So once my gut was calmer, I slowly added probiotics. At that time, I used a company called Flore, which was customized probiotics for you, designed probiotics. Today, I also use another brand. I use Designs for Health. I love them. But at that time, since they were customized probiotics, they were perfectly great for me. But that company is not longer working. I don't know if there's another, I think Viome, but it's not personalized, fully personalized. It's different. They put you in a different category, and that is a probiotic that they send it to you or they recommend to you. But at that moment, that was great. Nowadays, there are many other brands. There is Seed, there is Designs for Health, Thorn has a good probiotics. I also leave the links down here. So today, I don't eat perfectly. I don't believe in perfection, of course. I eat well about 80 to 90% of the time, and I enjoy food without fear. If I travel or have a special meal, my gut can handle it, thanks God. And if that's the case that I'm bloated because I overate, I take just digestive enzymes. And the next 2 to 3 days, I eat super clean and super healthy. And then my gut lining comes back to normal. And that's why I wanted to share this story. If you're struggling with bloating, reflux, or gut issues, please know that a healing is possible. It takes time, patience, and support. And most importantly, it takes listening to your body. So thank you so much for being here and listening to my story. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And if you want more videos about gut health, nutrition, and holistic wellness, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.